Broadcaster Paul Gambaccini was arrested in 2013 for historic sex abuse claims under Operation Yewtree. Now, despite never being charged for the alleged crimes, it took a full year for the police to clear him of any wrongdoing. During that time, he lost his job, had his possessions seized and suffered psychologically. Sharing his story in his first TV interview, would you please welcome Paul Gambaccini? You kept diaries throughout this, and you've put those into a book. The book is out today, Love, Paul Gambaccini, My Year Under the Yewtree. How would you sum up that year?
It was the reverse of the Big Bang. Your life contracts to its core. And that core consists basically of your spouse and your friends. People say when times get tough, you really find out who your friends are. But actually, we know who our friends are. It's just that in these circumstances, they prove it. And when they prove it, you feel your love for them. And when you feel your love for them, that love is stronger than the negativity being sent your way by the police. And I thank forever my husband Christopher and a handful of friends who were with me throughout and tried to make sense of the insensible.
How were you arrested?
It was 4:38 in the morning, and I heard the doorbell go. My doorbell has a two-part ring, so I heard the second part, and I looked at the clock, and that's how I know it was 4:38. And I thought, was that the doorbell? And then it rang again, and I thought, that was the doorbell. And I got up, looked through the peephole, it was them. And I knew immediately what it was, because I had warned my husband Chris this might happen, because when I had seen on websites that the police had opened a dedicated phone line and dedicated website and invited people to accuse celebrities saying you will be believed, I thought, well, this could happen to me. And indeed, it did happen, and in came about 8 officers. It's hard to count when they're just milling around all the time. And they took away sackloads of my possessions for 14 months. And I was taken to Charing Cross Police Station, where I sat in a cell for 4 hours, because, of course, solicitors don't work when it's dark. And so you're sitting there, and you're thinking, OK, what are you going to do? And I thought, well, I'm going to lose some weight. I'm going to play the piano more, and I'm going to write a book.
Did they tell you there and then why they were arresting you?
Well, yes, this officer came in. Oh, God, should I use the expression straight queen? You know what I mean. And he just goes, you are under arrest for blah, 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 blah.
Did they give you the exact detail of what you were accused of?
Well, what the alleged crimes were. It didn't say the people or the details.
Did they tell you how many people were making accusations against you?
When I was in the cell, they wait for the solicitor to arrive. So the solicitor arrives, and they give you what they call the disclosure sheet.
Yeah.
So I look at this thing, and it can be summed up in one sentence. I was accused of having sex with 2 males I've never known in my life in the decade before I started having same-sex relations. So much for where were you on the night of April 23rd. The police were not only on the wrong day, they were not only in the wrong year, they were in the wrong decade. So I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, how dumb is dumb?
Did you expect it all to go away, though? Because if it was me in that situation, it must have been like a nightmare, and you just must have thought, suddenly they're going to come to their senses, because having read your book, it unfolds during all these months of them not charging you, and you just constantly being told they're investigating, and you're in this kind of dreadful limbo which sends you to the brink of madness. You discover along the way, don't you, who the people are?
I discovered it when it was over, who the people were. But while it was going on, I thought, you know, I would love it if the CPS released my entire file, because it must have been so thin it would make Weight Watchers jealous. The only thing that could have been in it is lurid fan fiction of the 50 Shades of Grey variety. And I've always wanted to read 50 Shades of Gambo. The witch hunt had already begun. and I could see what was happening to other people. I was Yewtree 15. So some of the other cases were already in action. And I could see that there was a range of a minority of genuine offenders